Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tash and I'm a holistic health coach that specialises in women's health, particularly those that have lost their period due to hypothalamic amenorrhea. Today I want to talk all about my amenorrhea journey, which you might resonate with some parts of it. So let's get into it. So first of all, I just kind of randomly stopped the pill. I thought it wasn't very aligned with me anymore and I wanted to stop the pill. So I just decided to randomly stop mid-pack, which probably isn't the best thing to do, but that's what I did anyway. And I also remembered that I was kind of vegan. I was always vegetarian, but I think I switched to being vegan that same month as well. And then I gave it a few months, knew that it might take a little while to get my period back. Within like 3 months is kind of considered normal after the pill. So I waited that long and it just wasn't there. So then I waited again till 6 months and then I started to get a little bit concerned by the 6-month mark. And so I started seed cycling around that kind of month, maybe a few months later. I started seed cycling as I heard some really great things about that. So I was seed cycling for about 3 months, nothing really happened, and I thought I better go to the doctors now. So when I went to the doctors, they gave me a blood test, which came back as normal or fine. So then they gave me a progesterone test, so I think it's called like Breathwork challenge, which I now know it as, and I took basically synthetic progesterone for 5 days. I didn't really want to do it. The whole point of getting off the contraceptive pills because I didn't want to be putting fake hormones in my body, but I kind of felt like I had no choice, so I went along with it. And I do know now that that is kind of a good test to see how severe, if you've got HA, and how severe it might be from the results of that test. And I waited and I took the test, they took the pills and I didn't bleed. I then decided I would go to an acupuncturist, as I heard a lot about that and how good that can be. So I had about 5 sessions with them and they were actually really baffled as to why I hadn't got a period by then. They went through obviously in depth all my history and everything, and they were just really confused and was like, you definitely should be getting your period by now, like after this many acupuncture sessions. He then suggested for me to maybe incorporate some meat into my diet, which I was again still vegetarian, vegan-y, don't really like to label it, that kind of flow. And I wasn't really happy about doing that, but I thought, okay, maybe this is the key then. He suggested to have a little bit of meat once a week. So he even said even if it's just half a burger once a week kind of thing. So I was like, okay, I'll try that out. Was eating some bits like tuna and stuff and chicken once a week. I was not loving the chicken, really thought that was not me at all. But I did it anyway for around 6 weeks, and again, I didn't get my period. Probably should have gave it a longer period of time, but I just wasn't happy with continuing it, and I kind of wanted them results to appear much sooner, so I just put that to one side. And I also stopped the acupuncture as well because I couldn't really afford to keep going at that time. So I decided to cut down my gym from about 4 times a week to about 1 to 2 times a week. I was going to the gym and doing weightlifting. I didn't do any cardio, it was all weightlifting, and I have been doing that for years, 4 times a week for a very long time, not really giving myself any breaks, and also dealing with a knee injury maybe. Basically whenever I was squatting, my knee would kind of hurt and I would just brush it over and continue. So I moved it down to about once or twice a week, and then I kind of got to the point where I was like, I need to probably get rid of this completely, let's try that. Maybe that would be my magic cure. So I got rid of the gym completely, which was so hard. I then got referred to a private clinic, and an actual gynecologist was looking at me then, had more blood tests, and they came back as low estrogen this time. As I had been getting rid of my gym and not seeing results quickly, again, always need that results quickly in my mind, I then started to go to the gym again. I started doing HIIT again, actually, thinking about it. I did do a little bit of HIIT, maybe once a week or every other week. I was doing one HIIT class as well. So I started doing that again because I thought that was really fun. And my gynecologist actually told me to continue with the gym because they felt like it was good for my mental health. Even though looking back and knowing what I know, HIIT is like the worst thing for hormones. If you've got a hormone imbalance, do not do HIIT. So I was definitely kicking myself in the teeth there. I then got booked in for an ultrasound scan for my womb area to check that out. So I had a normal over the belly scan, and then I had an internal scan as well, which was actually quite uncomfortable. That took quite a long time. It felt like forever. They were like twisting it around, try and get all the angles of my ovaries to make sure, I guess, they're not polycystic, and just to see what's going on there. So that happened. They just kind of said that it all looks fine. They even told me I'm ovulating, which is very incorrect, because then I would definitely be having a period. So I don't know why they told me that. And they told me that I had a thin lining as well. They wasn't too concerned and kind of booked me in for a MRI scan. I think I had high prolactin actually. Even though they said everything was fine, then they wanted me to come in for a MRI scan to double check that out, that I didn't have a pituitary tumour. So I got that booked in too. This then leads me on to my 6-week travelling holiday around Southeast Asia, which was really nice, really cool. I really loved it. I don't know, I'm trying to think, was I stressed? I'm not sure. I feel like I probably was, because we didn't, even though I wasn't working, I quit my job as well just before that. Even though I wasn't working, we was always just walking around and finding places to stay that night. The longest out of the whole 6 weeks that we stayed in the same place was like 2 nights, maybe 3, an absolute push. So I think I was always a little bit stressed of like, where are we sleeping that night? And my kind of type A personality did not like that. So I was probably quite stressed during that as well, and I wasn't eating loads. We managed to see a spiritual healer in Bali, which was an amazing experience. He was so intuitive and basically looked at us, and instantly he drew a picture of us with his eyes closed, and we had our eyes closed, and he'd draw us where basically our energy centres would be blocked up. And he also then he opened his eyes and looked at me, and he said, "You've got blood in your belly. Why is that? I can see there's blood in your belly." And that was obviously really weird, because obviously if he said that to anyone else, they would have been freaked out. But I knew exactly what he meant, and told him, "Oh, I haven't had my period in a while. That's so weird that you've said that." And he was like, "Well, why do you not have it?" And I said, "I don't know." And he said, "I can tell you why. It's all in your mind. It's all in your mind. Like basically chill out your mind and you'll get your period." So that was a pretty cool experience, and it did really ring true. As soon as I came back from travelling, I was then given my MRI scan that I had to go to. So I realised I had to take my earrings out, because you're not allowed any like jewellery on or any metal when you're in the machine. And I've never had one before. So I had to take my piercings out. I've got like one up here and one here. And I didn't know how to take them out, so that was a massive kerfuffle. And then when I finally took them out and went there, it was all fine. Like, it's really a loud machine that's like banging, but I used the time to kind of chill and meditate and just think positive thoughts and things like that. So it was a fine time. And then when I came out, I was trying to put my piercings back in later on, and I just literally couldn't. They're so hard. So I had to go to a piercer. And basically they had to re-pierce this one. Like, I've had this one for ages, and this one was actually pretty new, but weirdly they got that one in fine, and this one was so hard they had to re-pierce it back in, even though it's years old. And they said the reason is because the like waves, the frequencies or whatever, often can close piercings, which I thought was really strange. So FYI, that your piercings can close up as well. Your holes can start to close during that small amount of time. The MRI came back as fine, nothing wrong with my pituitary. So then I was given some estrogen and progesterone tablets together that I had to take for quite a period of time, I guess to kind of imitate the cycle, the natural cycle. After that, I did have a bleed that was very, very light, and this was meant to bring my periods back magically, and of course it didn't. After a while, I didn't get my period as expected, really. So they didn't really know what to do with me. My gynecologist and doctor just kind of said, if you want to get pregnant, we'll look into it a bit more, but otherwise go back on the pill, because we don't know what to do with you, which I was not doing at all. I wanted to get to the root cause of it. I wanted to heal it naturally, not just put synthetic hormones in me again. So I took my own route and my own investigations. came across hypothalamic amenorrhea and realised that I probably needed to be eating more, even though I was eating quite a lot. I was probably, when I started kind of tracking to double check what I was eating about 2,300-ish, so not a bad amount, but they say to eat at least 2,500 when you're going all in, and you need to cut all exercise and just potentially do yoga if you want to do something, and walking, and obviously manage your stress levels. So I thought that I need to do this. I need to literally go all in, give it a longer period of time without the exercise, really up my calories and really concentrate on my stress. As you can imagine, and anyone that is going through this process or has been through this process, it is tough. It can take a very long time. It took me 5 months actually from going completely and utterly all in to get my period. So it can take a lot of time. You're putting on weight, you don't know if you're on the right track. It's all very uncomfortable, and just a really tough time really. And your mindset needs to change. Different things need to be tweaked. Your kind of fear foods needs to be challenged, etc. There's loads of stuff. I also really got into breathwork as part of my stress management routine. So I was doing breathwork quite a lot. It's really great to get you in the parasympathetic mode, out of the fight and flight and into the rest and digest. And it actually is so helpful that I now include it in my coaching practice, and I'm a facilitator. During one of my breathwork sessions, I felt a lot of tingling sensations in my belly and like swishing, swirling sensations in my stomach area, and that's where your sacral chakra is. And then weirdly, 5 days later, that's when I came on my first recovery period. And I see this as the stagnant energy being moved through my body, through the breath. And that's my story really. I wonder if you can resonate at all. Write down below if you can. And yeah, like this is why I now help people from all the knowledge that I've gained and certifications and everything, and just like absolutely loving everything about hormones. And now I know exactly how it feels to be in that position. And I also hired a coach actually, I forgot to mention that. So I know how important having that accountability and that support and guidance is. And if anyone needs any help, then don't be afraid to reach out to me. Hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll see you on the next one.